Hello everybody and welcome to Catch Me WOWS Designs. Today we are going to be going over the table decorations for the 1920s party that I had and some ideas of where you can buy some supplies and how to set it up. So without further ado, let's get started. So I tried to keep the table decorations pretty simple because again we were trying to go for more budget friendly. I didn't have like $500 or $600 to spend on this party. So throughout this section of the video I'm going to be popping up some images on either side of some different things that I purchased, and just to give you an idea of what you can use. So to start with the table coverings, I found these really great ones on Amazon. They come in a 3-pack, and for what they were, I would say that they worked really well. They helped set the mood for the party. They were very good quality, and they just added some fun. What I loved about these particular tablecloths is for a lot of cheap ones, they only have a fun design on the bottom that hangs off of the table. But these ones also up through the center that was actually on the table also was decorated. So that helped to eliminate some extra centerpieces and stuff that I would need and help to jazz it up just a little bit. For the main centerpieces, I used this particular lantern SVG set. I cut them all out on my Cricut. I had about 40 people there and about, I want to say 8 tables, I believe, eight or 9 tables. And so for the longer, like 8-foot and 6-foot tables, I had 2 each, one on one end and one on the other. And then I had some round tables also, which just had the one in the center. I just used a basic black cardstock for that. I bought some cheap sheets of vellum paper on Amazon, and that seemed to work pretty well. The lanterns did take a while to cut just one on my Cricut, so I did have to start cutting those out well in advance. For the tops of them, because I really liked the ideas on Pinterest that had feathers coming out the top, and unfortunately for that SVG file, it just was open in the top. So I created a little hat or a lid to put on it. I have a small handheld puncher that I use to puncture some holes in the cardstock top. Then on the inside of the lid, I took some floral foam and cut it into about 1/2 inch thick because that was how deep I made the lid, and hot glued it to the bottom. So that way when I took and put my feathers through the top, then they would actually stand up and they wouldn't fall down through the hole, which was so helpful. Another thing, speaking of that part of the centerpiece, I went on Amazon and bought a 30-pack of black ostrich feathers. That was, I believe, ran about $15, so it's not too expensive. There is also some bigger packs if you need more for tables or you want to decorate more areas with those kind of centerpieces. They also have other colors that you can purchase as well. For the secondary color to kind of balance out the black, we actually had these weeds in a marshy part of our property that my dad went out and cut for me. So that helped to cut down the cost. So if you have anything like that that gives the appearance of feathers that could be free, you can totally use those as well. And so these are what the finished centerpieces looked like. They were super cute and held up really well all night. I did use some of the Dollar Tree tea lights that come with batteries in order to light it up from the interior, and it just made it super fun. For the center part of the long tables, I had a wine glass, and for the ones that I already had at my house, they were green and they had a gold rim around the top, so that was super helpful. I also just went to Dollar Tree and bought those little mini apple cider bottles. They're $1.25 a piece, super cheap. Also went at the Dollar Tree and bought some of the rhinestone adhesive wrap. And so I just cut it to cover up the label and wrapped it all the way around. That helped to elevate the look, while at the same time, in order to make all of them, I paid like $6 or $7. It was cheap but elegant. To finish off the look, I went to Hobby Lobby. They have pearl garland that you can get. I think it might be like 30 feet or something like that. If you get it on sale, it's like $2.50. When they have their wedding section on sale, that's where it's at in the store. And then I just took and started the pearl garland inside the cup, had it go over the edge, and then just made a design, just kind of draped it around the bottle, and then put the other loose end inside the cup to finish it off. It was such a simple thing, but it looked really cool when it was done. So here you can see it all together. This was a great small centerpiece if you're looking for something that's quick and easy. And most of the items you can either buy at the Dollar Tree or just use items that you already have on your own. Last but not least, I bought some gold paper doilies from Amazon. I bought a 100-pack and they were 12 inches wide because the plates that I got were a solid black and they were 10 inches. So that way we would have 2 inches around the exterior to see the lace, which was super fun. I also folded all of the napkins that had the silverware in them. I bought gold forks and gold spoons from from Hobby Lobby rather, because they were on sale and it helped to give that elevated look. I did include knives as well, but I just used some clear ones that we already had in the area. And so the fold that I did was, it was a 3-pocket fold. So that way the spoon, the fork, and the knife were all in its own little pocket. I wanted them to be at the table because, you know, sometimes when you're carrying a plate and if you're trying to carry a drink, it can be really hard to carry all of that and your silverware without dropping it. So this way, with it already being at the tables, nobody had to worry about forgetting to get silverware or anything like that. So on top of the gold paper doilies, I also put the party favors that I showed you in my first video. And so all together, it was just a brilliant black and gold look. And now let's take a look at how everything looked when it was all done. I can honestly say I'm really proud of how this turned out. The only thing that I realized later was that for some of the tables, I forgot to flip the paper doilies the correct side up because they were curling on the ends a little bit. But for the tables that I did actually remember to do that, then I just am so excited about how it looked. So now let's talk about the dessert table. I'm not going to get into how I made the desserts in this video. That will be for the last video in the series, but I wanted to talk about a bit how I decorated for the dessert table. So I started off by getting a sparkly gold foil tablecloth. I don't remember exactly where I bought that from. It might have been Hobby Lobby, or it might have been Walmart, or even Party On. I'm not really sure. Either way, I thought that added a nice little glitz and glamour to the table. I wanted to have a nice backdrop to really bring it all together. And so I bought this one for really cheap on Amazon. It was not as vibrant as I was hoping for, but it still worked out pretty well. And I'm really excited about how it turned out. I did take some of the Dollar Tree garland that was part of their graduation series. It was black with gold and it had little stars hanging out or sticking out of it, and so I used that to cover up the white edge of the background to help bring it a little bit together more. For the flapper girl and the dapper man, that came in a pack from Party On. And I really liked that. That was the main reason I had bought the pack. It's about $6 there, but it also came with some signs. And those signs were super useful in designating different areas of the party. And so I put one and taped it right up there onto the backdrop so that way they would know, and just add some fun. I liked that those signs were double-sided. So the one side was mostly gold with black accents and the other side was the opposite. So it was mostly black with gold accents, and that side was a little bit shinier than the other side, which was matte. And so that was a fun detail to add as well. I got some gold centerpieces that were supposed to fan out also from Hobby Lobby. Admittedly, they did not look as good as I was picturing or is on the picture of the package. If I had to do it again, I probably would not buy those, but they did help to hold up my 2 cardboard figures, which we had to hot glue on, but those I wasn't really particularly thrilled with, but that's a whole other story. I also got from the Dollar Tree graduation area, they had 3-section dividers. They were clear with gold sparkle, so that helped to elevate the look as well. For the cupcakes, I had a 2-tiered plate holder that I already had from a party I have thrown years ago, and so that helped to separate the chocolate and the vanilla cakes. You can find more modern ones at Hobby Lobby now. That's where I bought that particular one. Or if you wanted to use like a cardboard one or one you already have, you can most definitely do that as well. For the napkins, I wanted to do something a little bit fancier because the napkins that were at the table, as you saw, were solid white. And it was really hard for me to find big napkins that were pretty, and it just so happened that the ones I got for the cake table were actually that they were large. I bought them online from Amazon. I don't know if they still have them available. I bought the last pack when I needed them, but I'm sure they'll come back at another time, or you can get the smaller ones. There's a ton of smaller ones available on Amazon for a really decent price. So without further ado, let's take a look at how the dessert table was when it was all completed. So here is how it looks overall. I did buy some more forks that was special just for the cake table. And let's take a closer look at the table itself. Doesn't that look so awesome? Before we finish off today, I want to talk about just some added decorations that I had throughout the area. So one of the items that I had along the back wall of the stage area where we had our round tables is I went to Dollar Tree and they had a fringe photo backdrop type situation. And it was black and gold, ironically, which was perfect. And so I put that up on the wall in the back. That helped to give it some shine, especially with the mood lighting that we had up there. For the photography backdrop, which I think I mentioned before, that backdrop also came from Amazon, and I decorated it with some, I don't know what they're called. I'm going to call them twirlies, but they hang from the ceiling and they twirl around, so we're going to call them twirlies. Anyways, and I also purchased some balloons, some gold, white, and I believe black star balloons from the Dollar Tree. And I had 2 extra of those gold centerpieces left over, which I ended up using as a balloon weight so that they wouldn't fly around. I also had some balloons up top, and so that way people could get photos. I set up one of my photography lights in there. And another kind of fun decorative area that we had is when you first walked in, we had a police lineup and where everybody got their photos. And we had one of those boards where you can put the letters in it. They're like felt or whatever, those felt boards. For the special occasion, we had it all written out and had another photography lamp over there. So that way it would be a nice memento. They could come back later and take pictures of that with their own cell phones. But I did take everyone's photo and then after the party sent it out to everyone. So that way they could have a fun keepsake for later. So now without further ado, I know this is what you guys have been waiting for, but I'm going to tease you a little bit first. I'm going to show you the entrance of the Speakeasy that my dad worked so hard on, and we are so proud of how it turned out. So let's head on over and watch that video.
Password?
Doll face.
Come right on in.
So that is all I am going to show you for now. If you are interested in seeing the entire video, including the walk around of the different areas, then please be sure to like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'll see you next time. Bye!